Welcome to another episode of Game Boy Roulette, where we take a look at randomly chosen games from the Game Boy library.
Aerostar. Never heard of it? Sounds promising. Sadly, I don't think this game is about that cool wrestler from Lucha Underground who hit crazy dives and was also a time traveler from space. No, this is instead my favorite kind of Game Boy Roulette episode, the ones where I don't know a thing about the game. We begin our research and immediately discover that the publisher of the game was Vic Tokai. Vic Tokai was a game developer and publisher, as well as a general Japanese telecommunications company, who throughout the 80s and 90s released every kind of game you could think of. Platformers, racers, puzzle games, the literal worst game I've ever played in my life. They pretty much tried out everything. But while they developed most of their own games in-house, they did publish a few games developed by others, one of which was Aerostar in 1991. The developers were none other than Sigma Pro Tech. You know them, the developers of literally 3 video games ever. Yeah, this was one of those companies that existed only for a few years and only had 3 games to their name: Zoom, Shadow Blasters, and Aerostar. Finding these companies is always fun. We're so used to talking about the bigger companies, your Capcoms, Konamis, Namcos, but there were so many of these tiny developers who came into being during the boom period and then for whatever reason never really clicked, the only proof of their existence being on ident screens in a few scant games. But that's no reason to assume the worst. Okay, the fact that Aerostar is literally the last thing this company did before going bust actually is a good reason to assume the worst, but still, let's try to be optimistic. After all, it's hard not to be optimistic looking at this awesome box art. Future wars, gleaming cities, a sun and also a moon in the background. It is quintessentially 1990s sci-fi in the best way. Also, I'm glad they helpfully labeled which ship is Aerostar. So, how does this forgotten Game Boy game play? We're blasting off with Aerostar. Ooh, scrolling title. Aerostar. I mean, that's just a cool sounding title. Easy, norm, hard. Oh, this is a groovy space song that is now abruptly over. Alright, let us norm. Something tells me this is gonna be a shooter. Oh yeah. What? I actually don't have that much room to move around. And it's a little slow. What? I can't... Huh? Oh, wait, am I on this road? B. I don't like this. So what does A do? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, is that what we're doing here? Okay, so we got some orbitals. Okay, so let me just see if I have this right. Ow. So right now I can only move on this little pathway, right? If I hold A, I can ascend. Oh, and the big ones... Oh, the big ones mean they're closer to the sky, or they're closer to the camera, I guess. So it's a shoot 'em up on 2 different levels. Okay, that's kind of an interesting way to do things. I got B again. Interesting. Whoops. Farewell. Orbitals it is. Darn it. Oh, wow. This is surprisingly difficult to wrap my brain around. But it's an interesting idea. Okay, now let's see if I get a better handle on this. Okay, that one's in the sky. I can... Wait, what? Okay, I thought that one was in the sky, but I'm very clearly above it. So that's an issue. They aren't doing a good... What? You hold the button, and then when you let go, it shoots sideways. So they aren't doing a great job at indicating what's on what level. I don't like this laser. I'm not sure I like this either. That's another thing. So far for a shoot 'em up, none of the power-ups have been very satisfying. It's fuel to go up and down. Yeah, so far, this is a very unique and interesting idea. I'm just not sure the execution is living up to it. Especially because this is a very slow shoot 'em up. Like, I don't know if it's just the background moving slow or what, but it feels so sluggish compared to most other shoot 'em ups. There's also not nearly as much feedback as you'd want. What's V? I want V. Ooh, there we go. Alright, we got the good one. It's a little bit more like, rather than a 2-level shoot 'em up, it's like a top-down shoot 'em up with a jump button. Some other game has to have done this at some point, right? I'm sure it's been done before. I can't think of any others specifically that let me do this. Whoa. That one... What? Ooh, you gotta land right on it. That's weird. Ah, I lost my everything. There we go. Alright, where's the boss? Oh. Hello? Oh. One of those! Ooh. Oh, wow, they're not messing around here. Am I hitting it? Again, there's not a lot of good feedback on if you're hitting something or not. I guess I was. Enter stage 2. Music's good, though. Okay, hang on. How many levels are in this game? I'm curious how long it is. There are 7 levels, which seems like a perfectly reasonable amount for a shoot-'em-up to have. It could be executed better, but I am still enjoying it. I'm a sucker for a good shoot-'em-up, and this one, you know, it has a unique hook. That sucks, though. You need to land right on the platform when you jump. I really think this would be a game that would work better on another system. Something where you could have more colors, more speed, a better way to differentiate what ships are where. Like here, those ships just passed right through me, which means they must have been at a different level. And I'd like to have ways to differentiate that the Game Boy they didn't do a good job differentiating them. So that one was in the sky. I would file this game as a unique idea and an interesting attempt. It doesn't make it bad at all. It's fun. I can see myself playing this game, getting really into it as a kid. But it does mean that I'm left wishing it did just a little bit better. And I know that sounds like a me problem, but it's just, man, this game is good, but it could have been great. These missiles suck, though. These could never have been great. Man, that game came so close. There are so many shoot-'em-ups out there that in order to stand out, you have to come up with some kind of gimmick that makes you unique. Aerostar had just that kind of gimmick. One that I'm pretty sure I've seen at some point before, but it's so rare that it feels fresh. I love the idea of a shoot-'em-up having multiple vertical levels. It adds a perfect layer of strategy to the game while not messing with the core gameplay that much. It's one of those perfect gameplay tweaks that makes an entire genre feel new again, and making it more of a jump so you have to watch out for your fuel and land back on the map made things even more interesting. Add in standard shoot-'em-up mechanics like power-ups and big bosses, and you have what should have been an excellent game. And yet, it wasn't. It was good, no doubt, but it left me with the feeling that it could have been done better. The big issue was that it's so hard to tell what levels enemies and attacks were on. I got that the larger enemy bullets were higher up, even though they appeared to be below me in the animations, but it was difficult to tell what level enemies were at because there wasn't any connection between size and level. There had to be something that they could do to make it clearer rather than trial and error. And in addition, the game played a little slower than I'd like a shoot-'em-up to play. I think it needed a bit more speed to really feel better. Plus, landing on the actual platforms was kind of finicky. There were a few times where I felt like I landed on the platform, but instead it sent me plummeting to my death. I do still think this was a good game. It's a unique take on shoot-'em-ups with a gimmick that completely tweaks gameplay in all the right ways. I just wish it would have tweaked things a touch more, because it would have turned a good game into a great game. It's possible Sigma Pro Tech didn't tweak the game anymore because, you know, they didn't exist after this. And that's all for another episode of Game Boy Roulette. Make sure to like the video, comment, and subscribe to follow the series as we continue to dig through the Game Boy vault. I'm TheBrianJ, and I'll see you next time.